welcome to my channel. I'm Tiffany, a retired librarian turned homeschool mom. And in continuing with our Beauty and the Beast stories, we're going to be looking at this book. So this is Beauty and the Beast, a retelling by I'm going to butcher this, Chuku Lee, and illustrated by Pat Cummings. This is a husband and wife team. So this is a basic Beauty and the Beast tale. The main, of course, difference, besides, of course, shortening, is the illustrations. So in this story, I will show doesn't really show the beast all that clearly. You never really see the head. I think this is the closest you get to see the head. And so here is our beauty and here is our beast in our story. So in this, doesn't really specify what the father does. It's like he's going to town. He asks his 4 daughters, there's no sons, again, this is much shorter, simplified version here, what they want. Of course, the 3 older daughters want all sorts of things, and Beauty, the youngest, wants a rose. So he comes back. It's like he had a terrible trip. On his way home, he got lost. He came upon an enchanted castle. There was no one there, but invisible servants gave him food and a place to sleep. And when he was leaving, he went to the gardens to get the rose. The beast, of course, is pissed off. It's like, these are my roses. How dare you pick my roses? And he begs. It's like, this is for my daughter. He's like, fine, you can go home, but you have to come back so you can basically meet your punishment. So he goes home, tells the girls what happens, gives Beauty the rose. She's like, I am not going to let you go alone. So they go back. The beast says, I will spare your father if you stay with me. I will give you everything you want. So to spare her father's life, she stays. And she's given, similar to the original tale, there's no physical servants. Everything's invisible. She's given everything, the beautiful clothes, the beautiful jewels, wonderful food. She only sees the beast at night. She begins to get to know him. He starts asking her to marry him, as in the original tale. She says no. Finally, he even gives her a mirror where she can see her family. But she cannot leave. And that's kind of the refrain, is she cannot leave. And finally, she sees that her father is ill, and she begs the beast to let her go, because she would surely die if she cannot see her father again. He hands her a ring, sends her back. It's like, you just put on this ring and you will go home, and put on this, but come back to me in 9, I believe it was 8 days. No, it was 9 days. And I'm staring at a small children's book. I can look this up. And I just read it really quickly. So, there we go. And let's see. Alright. She sees her father ill. I will return to this palace in 8 days. So again, we have pictures of Beauty and Beast here. And he agrees. He hands her the ring. She goes back with a bunch of jewels. Her sisters are very jealous because, again, she's very well dressed. She's covered in jewels. Her father's happy to see her. Her sisters convince her to stay longer. On the 9th night, she has a dream that he's dying in the garden. In the morning, before everyone wakes up, she puts on the ring. She goes back, but she can't find him. She dresses in her most beautiful gown. Pull that illustration. I always love the illustrations in books like this. So here she is, all dressed up. Again, this is kind of very African form, which I love when they do stuff like this. And she eventually realizes, she goes to the garden to find the beast. And he's dying in the garden here. And he's like, I'll die happy because you're here with me and I get to see you one last time. She's like, no, you don't. And literally that's, she literally says, oh, no, you don't. You're going to live so we can be married. I realize that I love you. And then, of course, he transforms into the prince. An evil fairy had transformed him until a beautiful woman loved him for himself. So, and then they get married and live happily ever after. And it ends with, now I would not leave. beautiful story. It's a great, I love the illustrations. I love when they redo some of these tales in different cultures, because it provides representation, which I absolutely adore. If you're familiar with my channel, I'm big on the multiculturalism. It's one of the reasons I'm homeschooling, is because I'm big on the multiculturalism and teaching my daughter all sorts of things. You see that throughout this channel. So I love this book. The illustrations are fabulous. I love that retelling in this kind of African style. This is definitely what I'm seeing, and of course I could be wrong, being the lily white, blue-eyed person that I am. This is kind of what I would consider more central Africa, closer to more of the savannas areas rather than, say, the jungles of Africa. So different areas, and it's still, I think I would still consider it further south than Arabic Africa. So we're talking Ethiopia, Kenya, countries, and then a few countries west of that, like Chad and things, and other countries. Again, Africa's huge. I mean, it's absolutely utterly gigantic. So that's kind of where I think this is coming from, is more of this Central Africa. Let me see if it's saying anything about the author here. Is there anything about the author besides that, where she's from? I'll show this picture. These are the authors, and I always link the authors and the illustrators and stuff when I do these books. So, but that's kind of where I think this is. This is a fantastic picture book. It is not very long, so I probably will end up, if my daughter lets me, read this to her at bedtime. So this is definitely one of those. My daughter is 5, if you're not familiar with my channel. So I think she might enjoy this. There's not a lot of animals in it, but we'll see if I can convince her to let me read it to her. Definitely can be read to the elementary age. I'm not sure, they might be able to read it on their own. Again, there's little blocks of text, so it's a pretty easy read. So really fantastic little book. It's not that long. And again, we're talking picture books, so there's not as much wording here. You see how many pages this is. And of course it doesn't have page numbers. I might even, considering the length of this, I might read this during a children's story time. I'm not quite sure. But again, fantastic book. I may look for more from this author and this illustrator. We will see. So, it's 12 o'clock in the afternoon. I have a small child. So, no, she's not here. She's doing an enrichment program on the other side of town. I will be picking her up in like an hour and a half. So, but again, that is it for this review. If you like what you see, please be sure to like and subscribe. Leave a positive comment if you haven't. I think this might be my last Beauty and the Beast. Not necessarily video. I still have media to deal with. But I think this is the last book we're covering. I'd have to check. But I have covered Cinderella. I will probably cover more fairy tales next year, along with, who knows. I actually have not planned out 2025 quite yet. But next month we are going to be working on space. We are doing the Hindu festival of Diwali in November. We are doing mysteries in December. So that will be winding out the year. I will also be continually working on the Dragon Masters series. So those will be coming out along with other videos and homeschooling stuff. And as I get things posted, hopefully I will not get behind like I did this past summer. We will try to keep things up to date. So like and subscribe, leave a positive comment if you have one, and check out the rest of the channel. Thank you.